Here's one of them. Oh, so before I get there. Here's what happens in addiction. This is the neuroimaging correlate of addiction. Here's a control brain, and here are the dopamine D2 receptors in the nucleus accumbens, the reward center. Nice and bright. Lots of receptors. Okay? So a little dopamine can bind to many receptors, and you can get reward from a little bit of dopamine neurotransmission, from a little bit of any substance of abuse. Cocaine, nicotine, amphetamine, you name it. But notice, here's a cocaine brain right here. Notice what's happened. So these two receptors have been downregulated. Because ligands downregulate their own receptor. It's a process called tolerance. That's chemical tolerance. This is human tolerance, physical tolerance. Okay? So what happens when your receptors are downregulated? You need more ligand to occupy fewer receptors. So you have to increase the amount of the substrate in order to get the same level of reward, and that's called tolerance. Then you take it away, and you get physiologic symptoms. That's called withdrawal. That's addiction. Tolerance and withdrawal equals addiction. Okay? Well, look at, here's a control brain, here's an obese brain. What do you see? Same thing happened. And Nora Volkow, head of National Institute of Drug Abuse, has said that obesity is a form of food addiction. Food addiction. And that comes from NIDA. Okay? Not me, NIDA. So do you believe that sugar is addictive? Well, I'm going to show you an N of 1. Okay? And that doesn't prove anything, but it's really cool. Okay?
I couldn't get through a day without doing something to alter my consciousness.
And it started with heroin.
It started with sugar. Sugar, oh yeah, when I was 5, 6 years old, I was cramming sugar down my throat as fast as I could get it down. Sweets, you know, sugar on bread and butter. I became addicted to sugar because it changed the way I felt.
Eric Clapton, describing heroin and how he got into it. Sugar is a gateway drug. You laugh. Don't laugh. This is really serious. And we're giving it to infants. So the criteria for animal addiction, is binging, withdrawal, craving, and finally, cross-sensitization of other drugs of abuse. What does that mean? That means you take an animal who's naive, and you addict them to drug 1, say, nicotine. You then expose them to drug 2 that they've never seen before, say, cocaine. They're addicted to the cocaine because their dopamine D2 receptors were downregulated, and it's the same system. Everybody understand? That's called cross-sensitization, also known as addiction transfer. The world's expert on this was Oprah. That's a joke. Well, what about humans? So here's the DSM-5 criteria for addiction. So tolerance and withdrawal. And we have data for tolerance. Withdrawal is a little harder to come by, but there's a little bit of emerging data. And here are all the psychological dependencies. And if you read through this list, it sounds just like every obese patient. Just read through it real quick. I don't have to do it for you. Okay? So I'm going to now give you another N of 1. Okay? Again, it doesn't prove anything, but again, it's really cool. Everybody see this movie? So this is day 18 of Morgan Spurlock's sojourn through McDonald's. And remember, this guy was naive because his girlfriend was a vegan chef. So he ate vegan until his little experiment, right? Everybody got that? So this is from day 18. There's a bad word though.
I was feeling bad in the car, feeling like shit.
Sorry.
Really. I was feeling really, really sick and unhappy. Started eating. Feel great. Feel really good now. I feel so good, it's crazy. Isn't that right, baby?